In this video, I'm going to talk about the liquify filter, which has a lot of applications I'll get into. For portraits, you can think of it as your digital plastic surgery, though I think you should be cautious about doing too much. It has other applications as well, which I'll show you with the oranges in this image. So first thing, in the layers window, we want to make sure that we make a new copy. That way, if you change your mind, you don't like it later, you can get rid of this layer. It's also good for practice. So go to the top copy of your background in your layer window and do Command J. Okay, I would rename this by double clicking it and titling it Liquify. Or you can title also the specific edit you do, like if you make your subject smile, you could title it that. But that way you know which each layer does. And then make sure you're on that top layer. If you try to do the edit on the lower layers, it's not going to show up because it's being hidden by this top layer. Okay, then this is a filter. So we haven't done filters yet. The filter menu is at the top of the screen here, filter. And then we're going to learn later about some other filters. For now, we are going to choose the one that says liquify here. Okay, so you have a lot of options in liquify. The first thing over here on the left, you have some options. And the most basic one, your brush tool options. The size is the size of your brush. So you can see if I make it bigger, it gets bigger. You have your density of your brush, which is how much a brush will feather at the edge or weaken at the edge. So you can play with that if you want. The pressure is how fast the edit or the move that you're doing is going to happen. And the rate is the speed. So you can leave those at the defaults and then you can change them if you need to. Definitely you'll want to change the size of your brush, and you can also do that with your bracket keys on your keyboard, left bracket for smaller, right bracket for bigger. Okay, we'll get into liquify and that stuff in a minute. Down at the bottom, if you have the preview box checked, you'll see the change happen. You can check and uncheck this to see before and after before you apply it. And then you have a cancel to get out of the screen, okay when you want to apply it. Okay, so next, over at the top here, we have all these different tools we can use. Some basic ones which you can also do with keyboard shortcut. Zoom in, okay, and you can also change the zooming in here. If I'm on the zoom in button, I can click and zoom in. Command minus and Command plus also work here, so you can do those as well. If you are zoomed in, you can use the hand tool to move around. You can also use the sliders on the top, or sorry, the bottom and the right side as well. Okay, now getting into actual tools that will change the image. We're going to start at the top left over here. And I'm going to just pause this for a second because my computer has frozen. Okay, so I'm back, which is a good lesson to save as you go because sometimes Photoshop does freeze. Okay, so over at the top left, we were talking about the tools. We talked about these already. Now these are the tools that are actually going to change the image. One cool one I want to talk about first before we talk about these others is this face tool. You can also use the keyboard shortcut A to select it. If the program recognizes that there's a face in the image, you can use the face tool. And if you hover over, you can change things about the face. For example, if I want to make the bottom lip bigger or smaller, I can do that. Sometimes once people smile, one eye is bigger or smaller than the other. So you can do things like that by correcting those. You can also make somebody smile more. Okay, and you can manually do those things as well over here under the face liquify. You have a section for eyes, for nose, for mouth, for face shape, and then you have specific options within there. Okay, if you do things you don't like but you want to stay in the screen, you can also reset them. Okay, so for example, I'm going to go to the mouth and I'm going to add a little bit of a smile here, but I didn't like the other edits I did. Okay, so that's face, the face tool. Now, if Photoshop doesn't recognize that there's a face. You can use the other tools to do similar things. It's just a little bit harder, honestly. Okay, starting at the top, we have the forward warp tool, which will push the image or the pixels forward as you drag. So you can do things like make a smile manually on your own. You can stretch out areas like, so see, I'm doing this on the orange right here. So this isn't a very good curve on the side of this orange. I can bump it out. Okay. You can move somebody's shoulder down if it's hunched up around their neck. You can, if somebody is smiling and they have a little bit of a double chin they don't like, you can push it back in. Okay, so that's the forward warp tool. The next one, a reconstruct tool. This will undo the things that you did. So if I go back over this area, this orange that I had done, it undoes what I did. Okay, the third tool is the smooth tool. And I don't have any areas I can show you with this really, but this is good for if you have wrinkles in clothes and things like that. You can use the smooth tool. Remember also, you always want to set the brush tool options here. Okay, the next one is a twirl tool. I don't often use this, but just to show you what it does, it will twirl things in a clockwise direction as you drag or click. If you want to do counterclockwise, you can hold down your option key and then it'll go the other way. If you had something that wasn't lined up or shifted, I mean, you could use that for it. Again, I don't have anything in here to show you. The next one, pucker tool. This one will suck in things. So this is often good for hair flyaways if you want to suck areas in. Also, if you have, so see, I'm sucking this area in here. Also, if somebody has like a bulge in their shirt that's not flattering, or somebody's wearing a strapless dress and you want to suck in the sides where the dress is cutting into their skin, things like that. The next one down is the bloat tool. So it's the opposite of pucker. It'll bloat things out. So I could also bloat like the orange I did before. I moved it a little bit manually with another tool, but you can see as I use it and I drag, it bloats it. Undo that. Okay, the next one down after bloat is the push left tool. It does exactly what it sounds like it's going to do. It pushes left. So if I use it, you can see it's pushing out to the left. You can see it's pushing to the left as I click and drag. So you can move things around if you need to with that. And then we have the freeze mask tool. This is, you can apply it to areas you don't want to change. So let's say you wanted to change part of the face with one of the other tools. You can use the freeze mask tool to kind of like neutralize areas you don't want to change. And then the thaw mask tool is the opposite of the freeze mask tool. Okay. All right, so that is it for the liquify tool. I would always zoom out if you've zoomed in to make sure that you are going to like the edit you did. And then if you want to see it with and without the edit, you can check the preview. So you can see I changed the shape of the oranges a little bit. I sucked in some of her hair flyaways and I gave her a little bit of a smile. If I'm happy with all of those edits, I'm going to click OK. If I'm not, I can always cancel it too. And then if I want to go back in and do maybe just one of these edits, I can always do that. So I'm going to click OK. Okay, so now in our regular view here, and I can see in the layers, I can also turn it on and off here. Okay, that's it for the liquify tool.